Welcome to the Resilience Building Program. I'm your host, Roger Ruge. Today's breathwork practice is going to be about expanding the capacity of our lungs, right? Giving them an actual workout. Now, why would that be important? Well, in Western culture especially, we tend to breathe in the upper chest, right? The upper two lobes. Well, there's three more of those bad boys down below that upper section, and very often we're not breathing in there at all. And so what that creates is the possibility of dis-ease taking place in the body. In fact, doctors will refer to those lower lobes of the lungs as the dead zone. And that's because dis-ease will often take root there. We also want to improve all of our cardiovascular function, our ability to oxygenate the tissue in our body. And our lungs, we're not using them at their full capacity. So when we begin to do that, all kinds of improvements happen. It's kind of amazing, actually, how this lung workout will make you feel so much more vibrant and alive. Cognitive function improves, and it's also parasympathetically restorative. That's what we're after, friends, is to reduce the stress hormones in our body and give ourselves the best chance to put money back in that resilience bank account. Now, this particular exercise comes from the world of Tai Chi. My teacher has taught us this, and we use it all the time as part of our practice, but I'm sharing it with you because this is a huge resilience builder, and it's a way to give our lungs an exercise, a workout. Now, how often should you do this? Well, daily would be a great job. I like to do this exercise before I physically exercise because it improves my ability to get through that exercise program more efficiently, right? So think of it as kind of preloading, but there's really no rhyme or reason to that. You can just pick and choose any time that feels good to you, but I do recommend daily. And a lot of folks really like this at the beginning of the day, like your feet hit the floor kind of thing on the bed, and you do a couple of minutes of this kind of breathing to get your day going. It's kind of like having that cup of coffee. You get brightened up, but you don't get jittery, and your lungs are going to appreciate you for this because we're all pretty shallow chest breathers, and when we're under stress, we exacerbate that. This allows you to also breathe at 6 breaths or less a minute, and so that's parasympathetically restorative. And as always, every breathwork technique we're going to do, you breathe in through the nose because that is also parasympathetically restorative. Again, you want deeper dives on any of that stuff, check out Patrick McKeown's work, The Oxygen Advantage, or his breathing Bible, The Breath Cure. Both of those are going to give you the deep dive. Now, I'm going to move my camera down so you can see my belly. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a workout in. Now, we always hear about this belly breathing thing. And what is a belly breath? Well, most people just focus on the diaphragm, and that's great. That's a nice place to start, but there's a lot more to the belly breath. And here's what we're going to do. So put your hands on your belly, and we're just going to start by keeping our abdomen soft and taking a few breaths in. So we're breathing light, slow, and deep from the bottom up. Light, slow, deep, LSD. We get to do some LSD today. So go ahead and begin to breathe into that belly, and here's what your hands will look like. So they're moving out and apart. That's the sensation you should have if your diaphragm and your belly is nicely relaxed, and that allows you to pull that air deep into the lower lobes of the lungs as you expand from the belly. So try this a couple of times. Now I'm just exaggerating the movement a little bit so that you can kind of see what that feels like or what that should look like. Okay, now we're not done with our belly breathing because so often we're pretty good breathing into here, but the rest of the 360 degrees around the belly is kind of dead. So we want to enhance that. So what we're going to do now is put our hands on our sides, and we're also, while we breathe into the belly, breathing here, right? So the sides are opening up, and that's going to look like an expansion outward. And your fingers might move apart a little bit too as you fill in. Okay, so try a couple of breaths like that. So the belly also, and then the sides. Beautiful. And then you're going to put your hands behind your back around the kidney area. And what's going to happen is your hands in the back are going to do this. They're going to move out as you push into the hands through expanding the breath. and the hands are going to separate just a little. Now in the back, you're going to notice far less movement than you did here, and here you have a lot of really dense muscle back there. But this can also be a place where we get kind of stagnant in our energy. And so the idea, your hands are on your back, you're going to feel pushing into that as the breath fills and a slight separation. So go ahead and put your hands behind your back now. You're going to breathe into the belly, breathe into the sides, and breathe into the back of the hands at the same time. So everything's relaxed. Just go ahead and take a couple breaths like that. And you'll notice the hands moving apart a little bit and out. If you don't see a lot of movement in the back, don't worry about it. The more you practice it, the better it gets for sure. Nice. Now we're not done. That's the bottom of the breath, and now we're going to move it up into the ribs. And what our goal here is to take that entire rib cage, the whole thing, and we're going to have it expand. And the ribs, if my fingers were ribs, we want to feel this happening, a separation of the intercostal muscles between the ribs. So we're trying to get some movement into this rib cage because it's very often kind of rigid. So the idea here is to expand that. So we start in the belly. Light, slow, deep, bottom up, and then we get to the ribs. So go ahead and fill in your belly, and then your ribs are going to look like this. And my fingers now are kind of mimicking the ribs, what's happening inside that I feel. Big expansion. And then the ribs separate a little bit. It feels really good when you get that kind of movement, and you're trying to get that throughout the entire rib cage, all right? So into the belly, up to the ribs. Now, next on our breath work, we're going to bring it into the upper chest. So the idea here is belly, ribs, and then we're really expanding that upper chest. So we've got the lower lobes working, and now we're bringing it into that upper area, okay? And the hands are going to do this. You're going to kind of feel a separation at the sternum, and the hands are going to move out a little bit. So let's try that. Breathe in from the belly. Get up here, and open it up. It should feel really good. Like you should feel this kind of expansion happening with the breathing as it's filling from the bottom. Now, once you've got that going, so we've got the belly, we've got the ribs, we've got the upper chest, now we're going to put two fingers right here on our collarbones, and we're going to sip a little more air in. Because once you're here, you feel like, yeah, I've got my whole breath in. Yeah, but there's always a little bit more, right? So fingers up here on the collarbone, and we're going to sip a little bit more air in, even when we think we're completely full. That's what it looks like. And we're going to do this all through the nose. Okay, that is a full breath, but we're not done yet. Back to the belly. So our hands are back in place. Now we're going to breathe in through the belly, expand here, sip into, get the full breath, and then on the exhale, it looks like this. And when I think I've got all that air out, I'm going to suck my belly button back to my spine. And a whole bunch more air is going to come out. Now we've got excellent oxygen exchange. We've got all of that carbon dioxide out of the body. We're going to suck in the next breath. There's no holds here. So it comes in. Let the air out. And that, friends, is a lung expansion workout. So again, do this, first thing in the morning. Do it a couple of times throughout the day. Just doing that little bit with you, I'm already feeling much more vibrant, much more alive. My hands are getting warm. I'm up here in the Colorado Rocky Mountains, and it's a cold day today. My hands feel good now, nice and warm. I've got just a better flow of energy through my body because I've oxygenated my tissue at a much deeper level. I've also engaged the lower lobes of the lungs, and I'm doing this at a breathwork pace that is 6 breaths or less a minute. Parasympathetically restorative means more money back in our resilience bank account. So that's a lung workout. Now, if you got any questions or comments, hit that comment section below. I'm very happy to clarify anything for you. Again, if you have any concerns about this one, just talk to a medical professional ahead of time. It's a pretty simple exercise, not very challenging, but again, so simple and yet powerful. Never dismiss the power of some of the most simplistic things. This one's free, like most of my practices, and it's something you can do pretty much anytime you feel like getting a little lung workout. Again, my favorite way to use this is right before I exercise, because then it enlivens everything and prepares my body to exercise. So that's very cool. All right, that's it, friends. Got more videos coming on breathwork, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And if I could be of any assistance at all, hit that comment section, and I'll see you at the next one.